darkest all hell!
Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger, my friends. We got a different kind of video for you today because the other day I was over in California, far from my hillbilly abode over in Canada, and I was over at Sega getting to play some of the latest upcoming Sega games. I got some hands-on time with Yakuza Kiwami 3, Virtua Fighter 5 Revo World Stage, and the latest Sonic Racing game. That being Sonic Racing Crossworlds. And now, admittedly, of the three, I actually know the least about Sonic Racing. I've played some of the older games back in the day, but not so much this one. I know there was a beta not too long ago, although with the new Mario Kart underperforming, let's put it that way. Maybe I should invest some time in this one as, sort of just kind of mashed my way around it, but I had a good amount of fun. Lots of characters besides just the Sonic brand characters. You can see me here playing the Creeper from Minecraft in a Minecraft cart. Also, the other day, we just had the announcement that Mega Man will also be in the game. I also got to play a little bit of Ichiban from Yakuza, and it's funny because his car looks like a dragon. Now, to be perfectly honest, I definitely don't know the most about this particular game of the ones I played. All I can say is I played it, I had fun, Minecraft stage was pretty cool, and maybe I'll start putting some time into this game that I was originally hoping to put into the new Mario Kart. But yeah, overall, this game was pretty fun, but I'm sure there's better people who can hear about this game than myself. But when it comes to the other games, I got a bit to say about Yakuza Kiwami 3 and also its expansion, which is just built directly into the game, Dark Ties, sort of a side quest slash prequel to the main Yakuza Kiwami 3. And of course, I also played some Virtua Fighter 5 Revo World Stage, and we'll talk about that first, and then we'll switch back to Yakuza. So, Virtua Fighter 5, just about 20 years old and still going strong with an even latest revision. We've had quite a few revisions in recent years, and this one's going to have cross-play, it's going to be on consoles and PC, it's going to have single-player content, expanded content for tutorials. It's got a lot of big buffs, if you will, to the overall experience. Perhaps one of the biggest ones for fans of single-player content, we have the World Stage mode, which is definitely evocative of the old Quest and Kumite modes of Virtua Fighter 4, which were classics in their day. Basically, fight a bunch of computers that have their playstyle sort of based off of other human beings based off of replay data. So it's not necessarily perfectly one-to-one like a human opponent, but it's definitely better than just your usual versus CPU fare. There's a lot of just different areas to go through, and they all have their own suite of AI opponents with their own traits. For at least me, the earlier areas from the limited time I had, I could just kind of mash them and just beat them. They weren't that difficult, nor are they meant to be. Obviously, the higher you go up, the more challenging they'll get. Also, if you are a bit more of an advanced fighting game player, there is a selectable difficulty mode as well, just to get a bit more out of the early enemies. Now, this isn't reinventing the wheel, nor is it meant to be, right? Just like the older games where these modes appeared, it's meant to give you an easing into the game. So you can fight the AI, you don't gotta fight big, scary other human beings, which can be an awful experience for a lot of players early on, right? You can learn how to play the game at your own speed. And on top of just the fights themselves, there's items to collect, and there's also challenges in the various different arenas as well. So all new mode should be great for people new to Virtua Fighter 5, and also, hey, we got a new character. It's been some years since we had a new playable character in Virtua Fighter 5, and that being the boss, Dural. So to ease some worries out of the gate, I've been assured Dural has been rebalanced, as she was not made for competitive play originally. Dural's a bit more superhuman than the average Virtua Fighter character. In what's about the most grounded fighting game series, she has Shin Shoryuken, for example. She has a very expansive moveset. She's a stance character, and each stance is basically its own character, so say somewhat similar to Vanessa, except between the two stances, each stance is also a collection of moves from all the other characters. We have Rapid Stance, which is basically greatest hits of the fastest characters, and Massive Mode, which is greatest hits of like characters like Wolf, Jeffrey, Taka, like all that kind of stuff, right? So quick little guy stance and big guy stance, if you will. And I guess I never noticed at the time, but when you switch stances, like her graphics change, like the metal changes on her body, because she's like liquid metal, because it was cool technology in the early 90s. Last time I would have played against Dural would have been like the 360 version of VF5, so I don't know, it was cool to me. And training mode itself is going to have some modernization as well, just to keep it in line with the modern day, and also some more onboarding for newer players as well on top of that. But yeah, so old classic game Virtua Fighter 5, but another new coat of paint. We have a new great single player mode for newer players, new training mode experiences for new players as well. We have a new playable character. We're going to be on all the various systems. We're going to have crossplay. We have rollback netcode, easy use in like searching up other players' replays. It's coming out at the end of October, and if you've never tried VF5 at this point, and while we're waiting for the new Virtua Fighter, because it might be a long wait at this point, this is as good of a point at any to get into the franchise, especially because this game is now easier for beginners than ever to get in. Now, let's talk some Yakuza Kiwami 3. So I've been told the build I played is effectively the same as the TGS build, and just for some background with me and Yakuza, I'm the worst kind of Yakuza fan, as in, I started with Yakuza 0, basically. That's what really got me on board. I tried a little of them before back in the day, but Yakuza 0 is what got me on board. So I've beaten every Yakuza game, except, say it with me, except for 3, 4, and 5. Because those are the older games that didn't have the Kiwami remakes, and now 3 does, so now I get to play 3. And as with the other Kiwami games, this is basically more than just like a remaster. This is basically a remake of the game. For Kiwami 3 specifically, because there's also the Dark Ties expansion, which is part of the base game. You don't got to pay extra. It's a full separate campaign with all of its own unique content. And we'll talk a bit more about that in a moment. But as for base Yakuza 3, obviously new graphics, new voiceovers, full English if you're looking for that. All new cutscenes with new story. Some storylines have been changed a little bit to fit with later games as well. A lot more new sub-stories that were never in the original version of the game. The Okinawa area of the game has also been expanded, so there's more content there as well. Basically more. Again, not just a remaster, a remake. And one of the big additions for combat is Ryukyu style, where Kiryu just busts out hell of different weapons. It was actually a little confusing at first, as you have lots of different weapons to use, and they're all various combinations of either tapping and holding buttons for how you get the various different weapons. It's not necessarily like overly complex, but it was a little overwhelming at first. Just like, wait, what's going on here? I guess you could say the main weapon is the sword and the shield, and yes, parrying's a pretty big part of it. And one thing I figured out about parrying pretty quick, which was very satisfying, is you can parry gunshots. And yes, by the way, Street Surfer is here. They're retrofitting it, just, it saves you time. Why not? I'm not going to argue it. But yeah, as long as you're in Ryukyu stance, when a shot comes, if you parry like right before the shot comes, you can send the bullet back at the enemy, which is satisfying. I'm not going to lie. And also you're allowed to fight while blocking with the shield up. Like you can stab while blocking. So that part can allow for a more defensive style of play. And it's just one of the many weapons that you have in this stance. Of course, you also have the more classical stance where Kiryu just fights like Kiryu kind of always fights, you know, big old brawler style. So if you're looking for the more classical experience there, or you can deal with like a whole cavalcade of wacky weapons, the choice is yours. And when I say wacky, I really mean it. Like swords, shields, ore paddles, nunchucks, brass knucks. Like there's even like this big like ball and chain sort of deal that has just like a gigantic ever growing AoE that can just wipe out crowds. Like they're going really silly with the combat here. And of course, it wouldn't be Yakuza without backporting old features. So hey, we got all sorts of customization going on for Kiryu. If you want all your classics like karaoke or all sorts of mini games, bowling is back as well, right? They're all there to be found. Yakuza has certainly never hurt for side content, and even in this little tiny demo, which is kind of just a closed off area, I probably could have spent like 3 hours or more doing everything. I only had like 20 minutes, right? But there's a lot to do in this game. You'll get your bang for your buck, to say the least. You can even go catching various insects and butterflies if you so feel. And as we've seen in the direct as well, there's also tons of content that just wasn't in the build I played, right? The build I played was Okinawa and just a small area around some side quests. Stuff like Kiryu's orphanage has been completely redone. They've added mini games, quests, specific quests for all the kids as well. Most modern Yakuza games also have their own flavor of a build your team sort of side game. And it's back this time. Kiryu is leading an all-ladies biker gang. Because why not? Sure, why not, right? So build and customize your lady biker gang, your biker baddies, as they're labeled. And then go beat the holy hell out of a bunch of other people who might deserve it. And do some sick motorcycle tricks kind of like upside their head, basically. So Kiwami 3 is base Yakuza 3, but with more. Tons of content. Yakuza games have never hurt for content. They're always amazing. Bangs for your buck, and this has way more. But then on top of the way more, there's way more. So I mentioned the Dark Tides expansion. This is a full-on, completely separate game built into the base game. You don't got to pay anything extra. It's very similar in scope, as my understanding, to the Like a Dragon Gaiden. And in essence, this is a full-on prequel to actual Yakuza 3, as you are not playing Kiryu. You are playing as Yoshitaka Mine, who is one of the baddies of Yakuza 3, and effectively this whole side story is to see how he got there. And one of the interesting things is he does have his own unique play style. It took a second to get a hang of it, and he's very acrobatic, if you will, as he can kind of leap off of enemies, unhit other enemies. His whole fighting style is definitely not quite as brawling style as Kiryu's, a bit more precise, I guess, more like an assassin, if you will. I guess that's a bit more of a vibe feeling, because I definitely didn't have the full moveset to play around with. Maybe like precision's the word. Just the fact that like he has a whole mechanic based off of jumping other people to attack people behind you or to the side of you. That just seemed pretty cool. If you're going to play a whole separate campaign, you don't want someone who plays exactly like Kiryu after all, right? Now that said, it's still Yakuza. Like, even if you don't want to play like Kiryu as far as combat goes, you still want to do all the silly things, right? So he has as full access to all the various mini games that Kiryu does, bowling, karaoke, you name it. He can do it all. It was described to me that his main plot line's a bit more serious, at least a little bit more anti-hero than, say, Kiryu's. Especially with Kiryu, he can get a little bit more crazy with the side stories. Even the side stories are a bit more dramatic or melodramatic in this. So not full-on typical Yakuza craziness other than, you know, you can go to the bowling alley and have fun. This is admittedly where my lack of knowledge of Yakuza 3 specifically sort of hurts me, but even from the story bits I can get from the preview build, you know, there seems to be some heavier themes going on. So a whole new story mode, a whole new campaign, effectively a prequel to Yakuza 3. So if you're new like me, I guess I'm going to play this one first. And also, as mentioned in the Yakuza Direct, he will also have a bunch of unique side content all to himself. Even if it's meant to be darker and grittier, side content is the lifeblood of Yakuza as a franchise. Like, there's a whole side quest system apparently of Kanda damage control, which was not in the build I played, but it looks a lot like the Akame Network quests from Like a Dragon Gaiden, just, you know, with an all-new flavor. And tailored specifically to Mine instead. And Mine will also have his own flavor of Battle Coliseum content as well. A bunch of ever-scaling upwards battles and challenges, and of course, you know, will come with his own succinct rewards. You know, as is tradition, most Yakuza games have something to do with it, and he's borrowing some moves from Yakuza Pirates as well, as you can see. So, at absolute bare minimum, like, Yakuza Kiwami 3 is going to be one of the most content-rich game releases of next year. There's so much. 2 full campaigns full of tons of side content. There's just a lot going on here. A regular Yakuza game by itself is already full of side content to begin with, and then just has all the more yet. And of course, if you're not familiar with the story to this point, I didn't get specific hands-on time with them there, but Yakuza Kiwami 1 and 2 are also now on Switch 2, as well as probably every other platform in existence. This isn't some niche franchise like it was back in the day. Yakuza is pretty big, y'all. But if you're one of the fake fans like me that never played Yakuza 3 until we can get a Kiwami, hey, the Kiwami's coming out, so look forward to it. Coming out February 12th, and once again, I just want to stress this, the Dark Tides expansion with its complete separate prequel story is just part of the base game. You don't got to pay any extra, so I think it's a pretty cool deal. So that all said, just to close out the video, I just want to say thank you very much to Sega for letting me try out these upcoming games. I certainly didn't have to. It's not normally something I do, especially in the context of not fighting games. Definitely the first time I've ever previewed a racing game. Maybe I'll be the next great kart YouTuber, I don't know. But yeah, definitely looking forward to that full release for Virtua Fighter 5 Revo World Stage. And I am a Yakuza fan, just part of the post-Yakuza 0 generation. I'm not an OG, I wasn't there from the start, I'm not going to pretend I was. So for me, Yakuza 3 Kiwami is basically almost a new game to me, so I'm really looking forward to it. So again, thank you very much Sega for having me over, and that said, well, that's it for the video. So thank you very much for watching, hope this video has found you well, and normally I say go out and play some fighting games, and we mostly didn't talk about fighting games in this video, but I have no way other to end this other than that, so go out and play some fighting games.